During the company meeting, I was bored out of my mind and texted my online lover. "Babe, I want to see you wear a black slip dress tonight. How about it?" Then, the next second, the exact same message popped up on the big screen in the meeting room. That was the message I just sent. Even worse, the contact tag was still set as hubby. My current online lover and I met on a dating EP called Thousand Legs. Neither of us posted face photos, but we hit it off so well. We started an online relationship. I had little requests like that, frequently bold enough to ask her for some more revealing photos. When she sent a half-body photo, I was completely stunned. What kind of angelic figure is this? Especially those slender legs. Legs for days. Holy crap, did you see that? That message was actually sent by our 11IO hubby. And what's this about a black slip dress? Wake up, dude, did you see that or what? That message just now is easily the best gossip of the year. At this moment, I was still lost in SOC. My coworker thought I was dozing and told me to look forward. When I raised my head, I locked eyes with the 11IO. Meeting her chilly gaze, I could only force a smile and lowered my head. Under the 11IO's scrutiny, the commotion subsided, but I kept my head down. My heart was pounding wildly, and before long, my phone chimed with a message. "Fine, I'll wear it for you tonight. I'm in a meeting, I'll chat in a bit." Stop dropping Trojans. This cold and serious 11IO would actually act spoiled? I never expected her to be so wild. The meeting ended abruptly. I sleepwalked back to my workstation. "Bye. Why aren't you replying? I'm really in a meeting. Is it because I didn't reply to you in time? Let me make it up to you. Oh cool." My phone was blowing up with unread messages, all from my online lover. She thought I hadn't replied because I was angry, but she had no idea. I was just scared. Suddenly, a photo in black silk stockings came through. Aren't those the exact stockings the 11IO wore to the morning meeting? Even the style of the high heels was an exact match. The supervisor walked to my desk. "Chen Ze, what are you dreaming? The 11IO wants you in her office. You're in for it now." Walking right into the crosshairs, I clutched my phone tightly and stood nervously in front of the 11IO. "Did you need something, executive?" At this moment, I had zero illusions left about this online romance. If she found out I was just an employee under her, a breakup was guaranteed. The 11IO was busy doing something on her computer, while my phone kept buzzing. Soon, the 11IO looked up and glared at me in annoyance. "Sorry for disturbing you. I'll turn it off now." This agonizing situation lasted for nearly 20 minutes, before the 11IO finally stood up from her desk in disappointment and stared coldly at me. "I noticed you looked completely listless during this morning's meeting and didn't absorb a single thing. Last month's project was a blunder. You know our company doesn't feed freeloaders, right?" Hearing the 11IO say that made me shiver all over. Was this her way of firing me? "I'm so sorry. Things have been a bit chaotic at home lately, so my head wasn't quite in the game. Don't worry, this will definitely never happen again." The real situation was, I stayed up too late on a scorching phone call with the person in front of me last night and couldn't sleep well. If there are any more blunders in the future, pack up and get lost. With that, the 11IO waved her hand for me to leave. I returned to my desk, narrowly escaping disaster. Seeing dozens of unread messages sent by the 11IO, I rubbed my throbbing temples. "Bye, please. I'm begging you to talk to me. My mind is a mess today. That useless employee messed up the project and cost the company a ton of money again." Wah. Reading the final message sent by the 11IO, I was left speechless. Wasn't she talking about me? "What do you mean, useless employee? Be a good girl. I got chewed out by my bot so I couldn't track my phone. You should be a bit gentler with your subordinates and maybe give them a raise to strengthen their loyalty to the company." I smirked mischievously as I sent the text, already imagining an extra zero on my paycheck next month. The next second, a reply came through. "Which company is your bot at? I'll go take him down for daring to yell at you." I let out a sigh. Turns out she only read the part about me getting scolded by the bot and completely missed the raise part at the end. Whatever, I'll just let nature take its course. After work, I stayed behind at the office alone, planning to salvage the project I had botched last month. At least I couldn't look too terrible in front of the 11IO in reality. Otherwise, how could I ever win her over? If I could perform brilliantly at the company and make the 11IO fall for me in real life. Just thinking about the 11IO's alluring figure made me grin like an idiot. "What are you sitting here giggling about instead of going home?" A chilly voice rang out from behind me. My hair stood on end. "11IO, you haven't left yet?" I just wanted to put in some extra effort. Since last month's project had some issues, I'll try to make up for it. Hearing this, the 11IO didn't say anything and just turned and left. Watching the arrogant 11IO, I smirked to myself. Bye. Are you off work? I messaged the 11IO and quickly got a reply. Just getting ready to leave the office for dinner. Was I a good girl? Seeing her tone, it was hard. It was hard to believe she was the same cold ice queen. Good. Let me kiss you. I took a selfie of my lips, being very careful not to show my company uniform. Annoying, we've known each other for so long now. I want to see you. She suddenly messaged me. This left me at a loss. Could it be that we play so wild online every day, and she's unsatisfied and wants an offline showdown? Now isn't the time yet. We don't know each other well. You brat, don't we know each other well enough? You've seen my measurements. When it came to the matter of meeting up, she didn't press the issue any further. Just like that, while working on client proposals at the office, I flirted with the 11IO on the side. It really had a unique flavor to it. Unexpectedly, she hurried back in a rush, and without speaking to me, charged into her office. Bye, I'm so sorry. I left the dress in the office. Couldn't find a black one, only purple. Do you like it? Then a photo was sent. I zoomed in on it and nearly got a nosebleed. That wasn't a slip dress. It was practically just a couple of strings, aside from key spots covered. The rest, no, I can't keep thinking about this. I shook my head to force myself to calm. I'm in the office now, and there's an employee working overtime outside. I can't hop on a call with you today. So annoying, why do you have to work overtime today of all days? Seeing the message, my fur instantly stood on end. Both of these people are me. Why the double standard? Thinking of this, an idea popped into my head. I sent a message with a wicked grin. Remember saying you'd listen to me the other day? The 11IO in the office turned scarlet reading the message. Here is my first command. Put on this slip dress, then throw your overcoat over it, and take your employee to dinner. After sending that, I put my phone down and tried to stay calm, though I still couldn't stop feeling excited. Is this a play? Bad idea. I'm not close with him. What if he accidentally sees something? Didn't you say you wanted something thrilling? Or should we just forget about this whole thing? Actually, I was shocked too when I first found out. I never expected my online lover to have a bit of a submissive streak. Finding out she was the 11IO made me even more excited. Thinking of all the opportunities I'd have in the future. I just had to put it into action. Alright, don't be mad. After receiving the message, I closed my computer. Soon, the entire office grew quiet. I perked up my ears and quickly heard rustling noises coming from the 11IOS office. I forcefully fought the urge to barge right in. Hearing the noise stop, I stood and started packing my things as if getting ready to leave. Right on cue, the 11IO walked out of her office. I glanced over with the corner of my eye. Sure enough, she was wrapped up in an overcoat. Imagining the thin layer she had on underneath got me a bit thrilled. The 11IO stepped out. I'm just about done with my work, so I'm heading out first. Hold on a second. At that moment, the 11IO called out to me. I pretended to be clueless and looked curiously. It's late, and I haven't eaten yet. Keep me company for dinner. This sentence was practically forced out through the 11IO's clenched teeth. I put on a flattered look and hurriedly declined. No, you're way too kind. I'm just working overtime. How could I let you spend your money on me? I'll just grab something at home. Cut the crap. If you don't come today, don't come to work tomorrow. With that, she didn't give me a chance to refuse and turned to leave. Ding dong, my phone buzzed with a message. Bye. What do I treat him to? I've never treated anyone to dinner before. Seeing the 11IO walking ahead looking so adorable, I almost laughed out loud. Why not ask your employee? Listening to other people's opinions might not be a bad idea. I followed behind the 11IO downstairs to the company lobby and got into her car. 11IO, thank you for treating me. Don't worry, I'll definitely work hard from now on and strive. What do you want to eat? The 11IO directly cut off my grandiose speech and asked coldly. I felt annoyed, thinking that she loved the online version of me, while the real-life me wasn't even worthy of carrying her shoes. An idea popped into my head. I decided to prank her. Oh, let's get hot pot. Working up a sweat in this kind of weather, and then taking a hot shower is super comfy. She hesitated at hot pot. Seeing her reaction, I immediately poured oil on the fire. Or find somewhere cheaper? Is hot pot too expensive? Who would have thought? The second I finished speaking, the 11-IO turned her head and glared fiercely at me. Then she slammed her foot on the gas and zoomed forward. We rode in silence the whole way. Looking at the 11-IO's expressionless face, I must have triggered her. Inside I was snickering. That'll teach you to act aloof. That'll teach you to act high and mighty. Just wait. My little LOP mission has only just begun today. Soon, under my guidance, the 11-IO arrived at a well-known hot pot restaurant nearby. Getting out of the car, seeing the packed restaurant and the aroma of soup base filling the air, she hesitated. She stood at the entrance for a long time without moving. I swaggered into the hot pot joint, found a window seat and sat down, then picked up the menu. 10 minutes later, the 11-IO finally walked in cautiously, sitting across from me looking utterly unnatural. But it's hot in here, and you're wearing a coat. Why don't you take it off to see you down? With that, I took off my work jacket, revealing the short-sleeve shirt underneath. She didn't say anything, just glared daggers at me. But when she saw the short-sleeve shirt I was wearing, she froze for a second. Noticing the 11-IO's strange look, I glanced down at myself. The shirt I was wearing was the one from our call. Was the exact one I had on during our 6DO call earlier. Am I about to get exposed, Chairman? Then played on her phone. Then looked down and started playing on her phone. I let out a breath of relief. An employee is wearing. An employee at my company is actually wearing the exact same clothes as you. Still, my darling wears it much better though. Seeing the message on my phone, I was left utterly speechless. Truly, no matter who it is, brain-dead romance is a no-go. Don't you think he looks slimy? I mustered courage and sent it. Impossible. In my heart, you're the best. No one looks as good in it as you. Just lie that. The 11-IO and I didn't say a word. We just looked at our phones. Even the waiter gave us a strange look. I felt weird inside, a bit shy. I saw the message while drinking. I spat out a mouthful of water. Then I started coughing violently. I couldn't catch my breath. My actions caught her attention. I apologized, thinking to myself, this girl's wording is getting bolder, and sending such a message in public. She's definitely an M. Soon, the food was served. I put away my phone and started devouring my food. The 11-IO saw her crush hadn't replied. She put her phone away and ate. As time passed, the temperature around us got higher and higher. Even in a short sleeve, I was sweating. You can imagine how hot the 11-IO must be in that thick coat. I'm going for air. You eat first. After saying that, I rushed out of the hot pot restaurant. Through the glass, I saw the 11-IO fanning her coat, letting the cold air in. For some reason, I felt a great sense of accomplishment at that moment. Hey girl, feeling hot and bothered? Need us big brothers to see you down? Just then, 3 drunk men walked out of a nearby food stall. Get lost. The 11-IO had no mood for them. She coldly said one sentence, turned around, and was about to go back into the store. But the men wouldn't let it go. They grabbed and tore her sleeve. The 11-IO's clothes were ripped open. Her fair skin was exposed to them. Seeing this, the 3 men were practically drooling. Stop pretending to be innocent. Dressed so slutty. Aren't you trying to seduce men? The leader grabbed the 11-IO's hand, trying to drag her away. The 11-IO slapped his face, but due to the strength difference, it didn't do much damage. It only made him more excited. Oh, this one's feisty. But I lie wild horses. Soon, they were about to swarm her and carry the 11-IO away. At that moment, I had already rushed out. A second before they acted, I pulled the 11-IO into my arms. Holding her with one arm, I said to the 3 men, guys, if you're drunk, go home and sleep. Aren't you afraid of getting beaten up for doing this? The 11-IO tried to struggle. After I spanked her hard, she finally calmed down. And who the hell are you? I'm telling you, don't ruin our fun, or I'll make sure you spend the rest of your life in bed. I was getting angry too. The 11-IO I brought out, and you guys dared to lay a hand on her? My woman is none of your business. I saw the 11-IO glare at me. I glared back without backing down. I'm saving you, and you're looking at me like that? Feeling it wasn't enough, I spanked her again. Listen, kid, what we want is ours. I suggest you mind your business, or you'll be missing something today. The men didn't waste words. Fueled by alcohol, they stepped forward to forcibly take the 11-IO. I didn't waste words either. I pushed the 11-IO behind me, grabbed the man's arm and twisted it. Instantly, a pig-like scream rang out. If you two take another step, I guarantee his arm will break. Don't move. Yeah, move again. My arm is going to break. Next time, go home and sleep early. If you're this blind again, I'll make sure you're missing something. Watching the men flee in panic, I smiled and nodded at the 11-IO. See, if it weren't for me, you'd be in danger. How about a raise for me? I was a bit carried away. I stepped forward to put my arm around the 11-IO's shoulder. The next second, the world spun. When I came to, I was lying on the ground, and the 11-IO was straddling me. With a standard hold, I couldn't move. One hand was pinned. The other kept slapping the ground, and she showed no sign of stopping. Sis, why didn't you say you knew Kung Fu? Look, this is a misunderstanding. You hit my butt twice. Left with no choice, I had to give in. That was a special situation. Look, there were 3 of them, and they were so aggressive. I was afraid you'd get hurt. I just wanted you to calm down. The 11-IO didn't listen to me. She even tightened her grip. But, let go, it hurts, it hurts. This feeling of being trapped is terrible. This woman is really ruthless. You crossed the line. You're an employee. I was about to argue, but I realized that we were stuck in a very awkward position. My gaze fell on places I shouldn't look. But, you like purple? I have a big mouth. I should have looked, but I had to say it out loud. The 11-IO was stunned for a moment. Then she noticed my lecherous gaze. Half an hour later, I was in the hospital. My left arm was in a cast. A sling hung around my neck. I looked as miserable as possible. See, what did I tell you? Impulse is the devil, the devil. Now look, your employee is incapacitated. Then don't come to work tomorrow. You're fired. Although the 11-IO said that, I saw a hint of guilt in her eyes. I grinned and moved closer again. Looking at her, I said, they say you're good to your employees at the company. I don't believe you'd fire me. Besides, I helped you out. You were just meddling. After that, the 11-IO stood up and walked to the emergency exit. I watched her back and smirked. Just as I expected. When I took out my phone, a message from her came through. Honey, sorry, I can't be with you tonight. I have things to take care of. Soon, the 11-IO's message arrived. What happened? I replied while looking at my bandaged hand. I smiled helplessly. Nothing, just company project issues. I'll be busy. Don't wait for me. I'll make it up to you next time. I kept complaining in my head. You don't mention breaking my arm. And, company project issues, huh? I'll let it slide today. At some point, the 11-IO appeared before me. What are you smiling about? Seeing me smile so smugly, she said coldly. I quickly wiped it off my face, shook my head. Where do you lie? I'll take you home. Paid leave. Back to work when your arm heals. The 11-IO turned and walked away, without giving me a chance to speak. Left with no choice, I followed her out of the hospital and into the car. Give me the address, I'll drive. The 11-IO wasn't in the mood to talk. Maybe because of my appearance. She couldn't chat with her crush. So she took it out on me. I reached into my pocket. I looked at her helplessly and said, it's gone. I don't know if I lost it in the fight, or when you were straddling me. I can't go home now. Hearing me say straddling, the 11-IO's face turned bright red. Then she glared at me fiercely. The next second, she grabbed my casted arm. If you ever mention that in front of me again, I'll make sure it's a fracture. Got it? Seeing her fierce expression, I couldn't help but swallow, and nodded subconsciously. The 11-IO let go and thought, I'll take you to a hotel. You can recover there. I'll pay for it. Ouch, my arm hurts. It's inconvenient to do anything alone in a hotel, and no one to take care of me. No good deed goes unpunished. When I heard the 11-IO wanted to send me to a hotel, I was the first to object. If I went to a hotel, how could I get close to her? So I started throwing a tantrum. I helped you all night, and you're making me stay alone? No good deed goes unpunished. Fine, you can come to my place. Tomorrow, I'll find a locksmith. Once fixed, you leave immediately. Don't cause me any more trouble. Finally, After my pleading, the 11io couldn't take it anymore. She decided to take me home. Although not the result I wanted. I had planned to stay at her place long term, but this was good too. At least I could get a glimpse of the 11io's private room. I'm the first in the company. I was satisfied with this outcome. The 11io drove with a dark face, while I lounged in the passenger seat. Soon, we pulled into a luxury complex. As soon as I entered, I looked around in surprise. Even at night, the scenery inside the complex was as beautiful as a royal villa. I had never seen such a place. The 11io came over, dark-faced, grabbed my arm and dragged me. In her eyes, I was embarrassing. Hey, Lao Lu, wasn't that the female 11io known as the Little Chu Ice Queen? Never seen her bring anyone home. Don't be surprised. Women, at a certain age, always need a partner. But that guy is embarrassing. At that moment, I was being dragged forward by the 11io, completely unaware of what the security guards were saying about us. When we reached the building, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. She hadn't run into anyone she knew along the way. If they saw her bringing a man home, who knows what they would say? Then the 11io realized she was still holding my arm. It's fine, I don't mind. I won't say you're taking advantage. I said it casually, but it was obvious. If the 11io didn't feel guilty towards me, I would probably have been slapped to death by now. Watching the 11io unlock the door with her key, I was incredibly excited. Finally, I was going to be the first man to enter her room. As the lights came on, when I saw the full view of the 11io's house, I was completely stunned. Who knew the decoration would be as old-fashioned as my grandfather's taste? But, living in such a big house, with such minimalist decor? That's right. A listed company 11io's room, besides a few essential pieces of furniture, had nothing else. Made the whole room feel empty. The room on the first floor, near the bathroom on the left. You'll stay there. Don't wander. If I find you sneaking upstairs, don't blame me for calling police. The 11io laid out some rules. Then she went straight upstairs. The sound of running water came from the bathroom. Bored, I sat on the living room sofa and started examining the room. Simple black and white decor. Not even a single plant. As a girl, isn't it normal to have some cute pink decorations in the living room? At that moment, I felt a bit sorry for this girl. In reality, she was at 11io. She had to be in control. But online, a vulnerable girl. Every day, she told me about her troubles in life. At that moment, I had an idea to change her, to completely bring out that lively and cheerful side of her. Letting that shy girl out, my stomach started growling. I planned to have hot pot, but so much happened afterwards that I was starving now. I wanted to make something myself, but suddenly I wanted to see my online lover's cooking skills. So, enduring my hunger, I waited an hour after her shower. Just as I was about to pass out, the 11io finally came out. Seeing me lying lifelessly, she asked from the second floor, "Why aren't you resting?" "I'm starving. So hungry I couldn't sleep." The 11io looked at me helplessly, went downstairs, took milk from the fridge, and tossed it to me. "Drink this, then get some rest early. I'll have you driven back tomorrow." But, is this how you treat me? At least cook me some noodles. Neither of us had enough to eat tonight. This isn't just abusing me, it's abusing yourself too. Hearing this, the 11io's face darkened, fighting the urge to strangle me. She opened the fridge, took out all the ingredients inside in one go, and then turned on the stove to boil water. At that moment, I closed my eyes, listening to the sounds of the 11io bustling about, wondering what to name our kids. It hit me that we still hadn't told each other our real names. Just like that, as I imagined our child in elementary school, I suddenly smelled burning. I quickly got up and watched her dump the noodles in the trash. Then started washing the pot. Well, she's at 11io. She doesn't cook. Making mistakes from nervousness the first time is totally normal. Totally understandable. That was how I comforted myself. When I saw her snap unwashed greens and throw them into the pot. Grab a handful of noodles for the boiling water. Veggies must have been washed before the fridge. A little dirt never hurt. I kept comforting myself. But when the 11io cracked an egg, dropping the shell in the pot and completely ignore it, I bolted off the couch. This woman is definitely trying to poison me. I can't let her keep doing this. Bot, should I take over? I see you're inexperienced. I searched for not very experienced. Let me cook it again. Next time, it'll definitely be fine. In that moment, I realized she wasn't just inexperienced, she couldn't cook at all. Seeing her lie that, the softest part of my heart melted. But, go rest, I'll take over. I snatched the work from her hands and told her to rest, partly out of pity. A pampered girl trying to cook for me, partly because I was starving. I expertly re-washed the pot and filled it with water. Once boiling, I tossed the noodles in. Then I washed the vegetables. At this moment, the 11-IO sat right behind me, watching me skillfully handle utensils she didn't even know how to use. She was stunned. She never imagined cooking could look so simple in my hands. Unaware she was watching, I dropped 2 eggs into the pot. I cooked them for 10 seconds, then scooped them out. I placed the eggs on top of the cooked noodles, poking them with my chopsticks. The runny yolk oozed out. Finally, I drizzled on a few drops of sesame oil. Instantly, a rich aroma filled the entire room. Hungry? Come try it. I usually cook for myself, so I'm confident in my skills. I grabbed the bowl and chopsticks and set the noodles in front of the 11-IO. The noodles looked clear from my skills, especially the runny egg yolk, elevating the dish to a new level. Garnished with fresh greens, I said this while I set my portion on the table. I took a mouthful, blew on it, and shoved it in my mouth. I really was starved. Do you cook often? The 11-IO's tone lost its chill, filled with curiosity. Yeah, if I don't cook while living alone. Ordering takeout every day gets too expensive, and it's super unhygienic. You never know what's in there. Cooking gives you peace of mind. Seeing me devour my food, the 11-IO couldn't resist a bite. Soon, her eyes lit up. She hadn't had noodles this good in ages, reminding her of her mom's cooking. But, just go upstairs and rest after you finish eating. Leave the rest to me. I'll clean everything up before going to bed. Right now, I felt like such a confident man, standing before the 11-IO. Your hand, looking at my cast. The 11-IO couldn't help but look worried. I never expected the 11-IO to actually care about me. I turned and smiled at her, indicating I was fine. I'd caused enough trouble. I couldn't just sit around after eating. At my urging, the 11-IO went back to her room to sleep. I gathered the dishes from the table into the sink. As I washed the dishes, my phone buzzed with a message. Darling, good night, sweet dreams. The next morning, the 11-IO walked out and saw me busy in the kitchen. Beads of sweat dotted my forehead. I'd been at it since 6 a.m. and this lavish breakfast was finally almost ready. What are you doing? Her face lost its girly expression. It reverted to its icy look. Making you some breakfast. Since you don't know how to cook, you probably don't even have time to eat in the mornings. I don't have any work to do right now anyway, so I whipped this up. The 11-IO showed no expression, sitting in her chair and watching me work. Then, she casually dropped. I'll drive you back after breakfast. My body jerked while frying eggs. I couldn't stay here after all? Alright, if it's no trouble. I carried the eggs over, turning with a smile. The 11-IO said nothing, just picked up a piece of toast with a fried egg and took a bite. Soon, her expression changed, a look of sheer disbelief. Anything to do back home? Her sudden question caught me off guard. Nothing important, really. If you need me to, I can work from home. Actually, I thought about it. Since you're injured on the job, your meals should be reimbursed. Plus, I don't usually have time to cook. I'll pay, you cook, it's your allowance. How's that? She remained expressionless, speaking while eating her sandwich. How could I not understand her? I must have won over her stomach with those noodles last night. Oh right, if the 11-IO hadn't mentioned it, I almost forgot. My arm still needs dressing changes. How about I crash here for a while and act as your chef? We hit it off immediately. One wanted to overstay their welcome. The other wanted good food. Just like that, I stayed at the 11-IO's place after breakfast. The 11-IO went off to work at the company, while I cleaned up the house using just one hand. Collapsing on the couch, I texted her, "Darling, good morning." Morning. She didn't reply much, because she was deeply conflicted right now. It felt like cheating. She had a boyfriend, yet she still let a man move into her home. To shake off this thought, she worked like crazy all morning. After signing the document, she was completely exhausted, needing to lean on the desk just to stand up. "Darling, work is tiring, my back hurts." The 11-IO texted to complain. Actually, she didn't realize that ever since I appeared at her place, they hadn't exchanged sweet talk all day. She might not have noticed, but as the person involved, I certainly felt it. "Watch your posture, Oku? Don't sit too long. Stretch when you're fry. Honey, lop you. Sitting on the couch rubbing her back, she thought of last night's cooking. It was the first time she'd shown vulnerability in front of an outsider. Her perfect image shattered in that exact moment. Her so-called stubbornness, her toughness crumbled before him. Hello, is this the specialty store? I'd lie a waist support belt with a warm compress function. Hanging up, I lounged comfortably on the sofa. This felt like using cheats in a 6D OGM. Total clairvoyance. All day, she didn't message her boyfriend. As for me, I walked around the room with a pen, taking notes. My gone was simple. Give the 11 iOS place a complete makeover. If a girl stays in this color scheme for too long, she's bound to develop psychological issues. The 11io and I were busy all day. When my phone rang, it was a 6DO call from her. Come help me with some stuff. When I went down and saw what was in front of me, I was speechless. She had 2 carts packed to the brim. I wasn't sure what you needed, so I bought a bit of everything. I want grilled fish tonight. She looked a bit embarrassed. But I knew this was a start, because she had desires now. Since I only had one usable arm, the two of us together still struggled quite a bit with all these groceries. It took all our effort to haul everything inside. Looking at the living room piled high with bags, now this looks like a home. The 11io collapsed onto the sofa, unglamorous, holding her forehead with her hand. You could tell she was exhausted. As I put the groceries away into the fridge one by one, I said, I told you, but you don't need to push yourself so hard. Let yourself breathe sometimes. She didn't reply. I thought she was ignoring me, but when I finished tidying up and turned around, she'd fallen asleep on the couch. I walked over, pulled a blanket from the side, and draped it over her. I placed the warm compress waist belt we bought today, right where she'd see it the moment she opened her eyes. Then, humming a little tune, I started making tonight's grilled fish. NGL. It really felt like making dinner for an exhausted wife coming home from work. After an hour of hustle, I popped the fish into the oven. The 11io woke up. When she realized she had a blanket, she sat straight up. Seeing me in the kitchen, she breathed a sigh of relief. She'd never slept this soundly before. Did she trust me this much? Shortly after, her eyes locked onto the waist belt on the coffee table. Ordered this for you. Seeing you struggle to carry things, your back must hurt. Plus, looking at the date, your period is probably coming up these next few days, so I just bought you a warming waist support belt. I've got brown sugar ready. While you can still eat meat and fish these next few days, I'll whip up some good food for you. I didn't turn around, my hands still busy, yet I could picture how touched the 11io would be hearing these words. Just as I predicted, the 11io stared at the waist belt in her hands, along with the brown sugar prepped off to the side, sitting there stunned and at a loss for what to do. All these years, she'd always struggled entirely on her own. No one had ever cared. Even her lover only offered words. Yet the man in front of her was so thoughtful. She just stared at me blankly, not even realizing she was staring. Done. With the final step, today's grilled fish was officially ready. I scooped up the rice and placed the grilled fish and staple foods on the coffee table. She hadn't snapped out of it, gazing at me. What are you staring at? Dinner's ready. Is there something on my face? I waved my chopsticks at her. Seeing her snap out of it, I picked up my bowl and sat down on the other side. You're the bot. I'm just hired to cook. I can't sit with the master. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. Without waiting for her reaction, I went back to my rice. The 11io picked up a piece of fish and tasted it. Her eyes lit up the next second. As she wanted to praise me, she turned and saw me resting my chin on my arm, looking at her with a smile. Go ahead. Isn't it delicious? Seeing my cocky look, she scoffed, meh, better than street food. Hearing this, my smile froze on my face. A wave of defeat washed over me. Unbeknownst to me, she watched my reaction, and a slight curve formed at the corner of her firm lips. Just as I was starting to doubt my cooking, I noticed her bowl was empty. Right now, her cheeks were slightly flushed, and fine beads of sweat dotted her forehead. She kept catching her breath. I chuckled inwardly. Let's see how long you can keep up the act. Is it too spicy? You didn't say you couldn't handle it. I stood up and walked over to the fridge. Who said that? It's just hot. Right now, the 11io's lips were slightly swollen from the spice, looking unusually alluring. I walked up to her and placed the peanut milk straight from the fridge in front of her. Stop forcing it, drink, sister. Your period is coming soon. Eating spicy food is bad for you. She looked at the milk, then heard me say, period. Her cheeks turned redder. How did you know that's coming? It's hanging on the wall. I pointed at the calendar hanging on the 11 iOS wall. At first, I wondered why there were circles drawn on it every month. After doing the math, I realized it was her period tracker. This month wasn't marked, but based on the dates, it was coming soon. At this, the 11io stopped talking and lowered her head, muttering that the food wasn't good. Yet she'd devoured half the fish. After eating, she lay on the sofa and ordering a servant. She pointed at the leftovers. Clean that. I'm quite satisfied with tonight's dinner. Keep up the good work. After putting everything back in its place, I brewed brown sugar water and placed it before her. Drink this once it cools. Oko? If you replenish your blood now, it won't hurt as much later. She was lying on the sofa, just letting out a soft hum without saying more. This is a really bad habit. Her lower back hurts, yet she's still lying flat on the sofa. Doesn't she know not to put pressure here? I don't know where I got the nerve, but while talking, I placed my hand on the 11 iOS lower back. I pressed down with my right hand, and her spine made a cracking sound. She looked at me curiously, because the pain had eased. Prolonged pressure causes displacement. Watch out for that from now on. The 11io should care for her health. If you collapse, who pays my salary? With that, I turned around and started cleaning the kitchen. I knew I couldn't keep this up. Being too enthusiastic will backfire. By keeping things see-you and distant, I could manage to lie here. Distance makes the heart grow fonder. I still understood that logic. Babe, are you feeling better? I was so busy today that I couldn't chat with you. Yeah, I'm feeling much better, but it still hurts sometimes. You're not by my side, and there's no one to take care of me when it hurts. I don't know when I'll see you. Lately, you keep declining my calls and won't show your face on 6DO. It feels like we're having a secret underground affair. I really want to see you. Looking at the 11 iOS messages, I had a massive headache. I took such good care of her that even I was moved. Besides, these days I didn't dare tease her lie before. I was living in her house. A voice call would basically blow my cover. Have you eaten? I'll order for you. No need. I've been learning to cook lately. I made grilled fish. Pretty awesome? Then a photo of the grilled fish was sent to my phone. I made that. In this moment, I felt like a total simp. A girl taking my food to please someone, even though that someone was me. It felt frustrating. By the way, I might have to go on a business trip soon due to a transfer. I need to do research in the mountains. Signal is bad, so I might be out of reach for half a month. So I wanted to ask for leave. After sending this message, I sent an old photo of my hometown. As of last night, I had already planned it all out. Could I use these 2 weeks to make the 11io fall for me, instead of the virtual me on the internet? Just last night, I named this little plan of mine Old MO. I'm craving fish now, because I brought up taking leave. The 11io and I chatted a lot. From how we met to knowing each other, down to some fun trivia and stories in our daily lives. I sent her photos of my hometown, to prove I was really heading to that place for work. The result of chatting all night was making breakfast with panda eyes. Seeing the 11io leave for work, I quickly collapsed onto the sofa to catch up on sleep. When I opened my eyes again, the 11io was standing in front of me with a stack of documents. Oh, you're back. Is it time to make dinner? Seeing the 11io return, I instinctively grabbed my apron, but the 11io stopped me. Starting today, you'll be working from home. Remember that project you messed up? The partner specifically requested that you finish it, so your schedule has been moved up. This partnership is important, so the proposal needs to be done. Tomorrow, I'll take you to negotiate. It was clear the 11io took this partnership very seriously, her tone heavier than usual. What about dinner? Unexpectedly, the 11io rolled up her sleeves and headed into the kitchen. Let me handle tonight's dinner. You focus on finishing the proposal. I had doubts about what she said, yet I didn't refuse, because this proposal was important. Just as I was deeply focused on revising the proposal, a scream interrupted my thought. I saw the 11io shaking her hand and screaming non-stop. A scallop was clamped on her finger. In a panic, I grabbed the 11io's hand and told her not to move. Then, using 2 fingers, I forced it open and pulled the 11io's entire hand out with a bit of force. You're an adult. Be more careful. I held the 11 iOS hand and found the medical kit in the nearby cabinet, taking out gauze and iodine to disinfect her finger. First, I used a cotton ball to wipe the bleeding spot, even blowing on it gently like comforting a child, then applied iodine for disinfection and wrapped it up with gauze. Once all of that was done, I saw the 11 iOS face turn red. I realized I was still holding her hand. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Let me make dinner after all. After we finished dinner, the 11IO took on the heavy burden of cleaning up, while I sat in front of the coffee table to keep working. From my perspective, these partners had no brain. Their proposal was just trendy sop K. And per their demands, we had to beat them and surpass the traffic pioneers. When I got the proposal, I thought it was impossible. Who knows whose brain short-circuited to accept this demand? The pay from the other side was huge, so huge there was simply no reason to refuse. However, the PENTI for breach of contract was also extremely high, so high that the entire company couldn't afford it. No choice. This time, the order came directly from the 11IO, and the other party specifically named me to go, so I had to bite the bullet and add some traffic generation strategies to the original proposal. Here, take this. Get some rest early once you're done. Before I knew it, the 11IO brewed coffee for me, placed it in front of me, and then headed upstairs. I watched those long legs leave my field of vision. For some reason, I felt a warm sensation in my chest at that moment. I wrote and rewrote this proposal over and over, back and forth, not returning to bed to rest until the early hours. Actually, I had already guessed the outcome. Tomorrow they still wouldn't be satisfied and would do whatever it takes to make us pay damages. Early the next morning, I saw that the 11IO had already put on her professional suit and tossed a uniform at me. The catch was that my arm was still in a cast, making it impossible for me to change clothes by myself. I experienced what it felt like for a female-listed company 11IO to dress me, as my shirt was taken off and my abs were exposed. I could clearly sense the 11IO eyes sneaking peeks. When I caught her, she practically closed her eyes the whole time helping me dress. Let's go. I got into the car, heading toward the destination for this negotiation. The location for the meeting was a private room inside a luxury hotel. When the 11IO and I opened the door and walked in, we found the partners staring at me with smirks. I've long heard that your 11IO is stunningly gorgeous. Seeing her today, she truly lives up to the rumors. They shifted gaze to the 11IO, treating my arrival with sheer mockery. Only then did I notice there wasn't even a seat for me. Please take a seat. Today we really need to have a good talk about the partnership. Leading them was a greasy man. Since we entered the room, his gaze hadn't wavered, staring at the 11IO. Since there was no seat, I stood beside the 11IO like a clown. The client's two employees even snickered as they looked at me. Right now, my anger was rapidly boiling over. Though out of respect for the 11IO, I didn't lash out. I stood with my head down. I've heard your company has quite a reputation, but seeing you today, it's just like the rumors say. Do you not even know basic hospitality? Who would have thought? Before I could even blow my top, the 11IO picked up her cup, took a sip of water, and then looked around at everyone present. Don't run your mouth. Just because you're a company bot doesn't mean you can run your mouth. How do we lack hospitality? Do you know what kind of qualifications a mere sales rep has to sit at the table with us? Can the two pets beside you speak on your behalf? At that moment, the 11IO's inner queen erupted. Listening made my blood boil. Listening from the side got my blood boiling. I never expected the 11IO, when she acts all domineering, to be so insanely CU. Our sales rep is part of us. Our company's sales rep is still part of our company. We hope you won't take it to heart. It was our oversight. They wanted to tat me. They originally wanted to give me a reality check right at the door. Seeing as my last proposal hadn't satisfied them to stand up for an employee, she would actually stand up for an ordinary employee like this. Soon, a waiter brought over another chair and placed it next to the 11IO. And just like that, the negotiation officially began. Time for your show. The 11IO looked at me, looking very much like an empress giving orders to her knight. Alright, we've collaborated before. We're old acquaintances here. Hearing me say that, your demands are simply impossible to meet. Hearing me say that, the greasy man was the first to stand up in objection. Look here, Director Lin. We came here with absolute sincerity to cooperate. Yet your sales rep simply lacks the competence. Because if we couldn't deliver, The greasy uncle's mouth was practically splitting wide open, because if our company couldn't deliver the product to their specifications, it could collapse the company, and the cost is huge. It could even cause the whole company to collapse. Don't be so anxious. How come life gets so messy in middle age? You can't even keep your CU now. Huh? Seeing that smug look on that greasy man's face, it just drives me crazy, especially the way he looks at the 11IO. It really pisses me off. What did you say? What? I said this cooperation can go ahead. However, as the entrusted party, it's a contract demand. Remember, it's not a request. Requirements and qualifications. The client must provide the entrusted party with a complete project plan, showing them there was no proof. I said this while flipping through the documents in my hands, and made sure to show them that there was no company qualification proof at all. Your qualification proof, and we've only received the contract you provided. The man wiped his forehead. His employees started yelling, "We haven't received it all." Hearing this, the greasy man picked up a wet wipe and wiped his forehead without a word, while the two employees next to him started yelling again. "We've already paid you the agency fee. All you need to do is deliver a product that satisfies us." Lie, they were idiots, and tossed the contract down. I looked at them, and the product DZI. As for your qualifications, back then, we only signed the contract confirmation. We can meet your requirements. As for the contractual proof recognizing your company's qualifications, we never signed it. We can meet your product requirements. But first, I need to re-verify if your company has the strength. Meaning, if you want to surpass the top traffic products on the market, then you need to provide our company with complete qualification proofs. I took a gulp of water. Project plan, and total pre-investment amount. With that said, I picked up the cup in front of me and took a big gulp. Then I met the 11IO's gaze, because the cup I used was the exact one she had just drunk from. Oops. I coughed twice. If you can't prove, based on the product DZI concept you provided, we can terminate the contract. They were instantly speechless, not knowing what to do. You have the strength to maintain this project. We can unilaterally terminate the contract. As soon as these words were out, the other side was instantly speechless. There's a 3-month limit. Show us your qualification proofs. They just wanted to rely on this impossible task to make a fortune off the breach fee. Oh right, forgot to tell you. Starting from the contract notice, there's a 3-month limit. You need to show us your qualification proofs. Right now, it looks like you have one last month left. Of course, I also hope you can produce this qualification proof. After all, our cooperation is a win-win project. But I still want to remind everyone, the end of the year is approaching, and the notary office will be closing soon. So hurry up. If you can't produce it within the stipulated time, we have reason to suspect you're scamming us for breach fees. If nothing else, we're leaving. Wouldn't pull such a shameless stunt, right? I stood up, bowed very gentlemanly, and extended my hand. The 11IO was very cooperative too. If there's nothing else, we'll be leaving first. Hope we have a chance to cooperate again. Actually, once you get qualified, if you breach unilaterally, you guys are gonna have to pay up. With that, the 11IO and I left the private room. What a relief! Back in the car, I punched the air hard. My gloom vanished at that moment. It solved the company's crisis and turned the tables. So you were busy until past midnight, finding their loopholes? The 11IO's tone shifted from icy cold to much softer. After all, once this matter was resolved, the company had basically weathered a major crisis. I half reclined in the passenger seat and said smugly, we could never DZI a product like this. They were looking for trouble. There must be a mole in the company, which is how it got signed. I was busy until midnight, reading the contract 6 times before I found the loophole. Demanding 1.5 billion in assets in a month is simply a fairy tale. Let's wait until after New Year. By then you can find a legal team to sue them. And remember to fire that employee who signed the contract. They must be a mole, I muttered to myself, unaware of the 11IO's look. Are you telling me how to work? Are you telling me how to work? Hearing the 11IO's tone change, I was so scared I quickly sat up straight. I looked at the 11IO and shook my head repeatedly. How could I? Just a suggestion. Just a tiny suggestion. As for what's next, isn't it up to you? After all, you're the bot of the company. Seeing my flattering look, the 11IO smiled. Not bad. I'll boost your year-end bonus by 60%. Tonight I want sweet and sour ribs. Seeing the 11 iOS attitude, I was so excited I was dancing with joy. And like a commander, I swung my arm forward. No problem. Let's go home. The 11IO turned to look at me. I smiled back. In her heart, it had been a long time since someone said let's go home to her. Ding dong, ding dong. I took out my phone and saw it was a 6DO call from Mom. Son, New Year is almost here. When are you off work? That psychobot of yours isn't making you work overtime again, is she? As it connected, my dear mother's benevolent face appeared on the phone screen. Yet her words were more painful than killing me, because the psychobot was right next to me. No. Our bot is wise and mighty, and guides us brilliantly. When did I call her a psycho? She takes good care of me. You must have misheard. At this moment, I used every single praise word I could think of in my head, denying it frantically. Mom looked completely baffled after hearing that. What kind of bot did you say she was yourself last time? Because you made a small mistake last month and got docked pay. You called her an unmitigated she-devil. And asked about her periods too. I guess I did say that. Mom, I'm begging you, please stop talking. If you keep going, I probably won't be able to go home for New Year's. Son, is someone next to you making it inconvenient to talk? Okay, then Mom won't say anymore. I wanted to cry even more. Mom, if only you were clever. Just a few minutes earlier, how great would that be? What's the use of not talking now? She's already heard everything she needed to hear. My son, come back early this New Year. We have a house full of cats. Didn't you say you liked cats the most? Now your dad's breeding cats and making quite a bit of money. If you're unhappy working at the company, come back and work with Dad. You won't have to take your bot's abuse anymore. Sure enough, the world is round. I just said someone was next to me and to stop ranting. Yet in 2 sentences it drifted right back to my bot. Then my mom flipped the camera around, and our family courtyard quickly appeared on screen. There were at least 100 ragdoll cats in the yard. Meow meow ing right at the camera. Looking at the yard full of cats, I even felt a little heartbroken. I originally thought getting a good job would let me filialize my parents. Instead, the old couple ended up having to start their own business to pave the way for this good-for-nothing son. Mom, don't work too hard. You're at this age. Just enjoy yourselves and rest. Ah, right, son, almost forgot to tell you. Dad got elected village director. You're a rich second gen now. Hearing my mom say this, I looked at the 11IO and noticed she was covering her mouth with a stealthy smile. The first thing your dad did after taking office was renovate the old village city god temple. Villagers respect him, and in a while they're even going to raise cats together to get rich. With that, my mom sent a photo of the village's city god temple, and it was already too late for me to stop her. The renovated temple was thus presented right before the 11IO and me. The 11IO didn't pay much attention when she saw the photo, but soon reacted, took out her phone, flipped through her chat history, and opened up a photo as well. She zoomed in to compare. Mom, nothing's wrong. I'm hanging up first. I'll come back to see you during the New Year holiday. With that, I hung up the 6DO call. I sat in the passenger seat acting as if nothing happened, while actually stealing glances at the 11IO out of the corner of my eye. Doesn't this place look like the city god temple in your hometown? Little did I expect the 11IO to suddenly hand over her phone, zooming in on the city god temple in the photo for me to see. Probably not. Temples like this are in every village. It's not necessarily mine. I know. Let's go home. Make sweet and sour pork ribs. The 11IO didn't dwell on this matter any further. After dinner, I was tidying up things in the living room. The 11IO went to her room. Are you there? I saw a building in your photos. It's similar. I don't know if you're around. It's been 3 days since you replied to my messages. Are you doing well over there? I want to go find you, even if it's just to see you once. The phone in my pocket kept vibrating. I took it out and looked. Seeing the 11iOS messages, I didn't know what to say. At this moment, I looked down on myself a bit. I couldn't say it to her in person. I wanted to be brave, but then I thought, What about after being brave? Maybe it brings a breakup, never seeing each other, or even having nothing to do with each other for the rest of our lives. Just lie that. Two people harboring their own thoughts fell asleep peacefully in their rooms. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by a round of knocking on the door. I opened it and saw it was actually the 11-IO in her pajamas. Her eyes were red and swollen, making my heart ache. I didn't even have time to admire her perfect figure. Can we go to your house tomorrow? This sudden question, I was left speechless. Before I could react, the 11-IO pulled a laptop out from behind her back. I had people trek it. Villages with city god temples. Number 246 in total. I collected and compared every single one of them. And the city god temple that is identical to the photo is in your village. Take me. Hearing the 11-IO say this, my heart felt as if it was severely squeezed. I never expected that a photo I casually snapped would make her put in so much effort. But why do you have to obsess over the city god temple in our village? Many temples in the city are quite spiritual too. Whether you're praying for wealth, luck, or children, I want to see someone. Before I finished, the 11-IO interrupted, saying desolately, "Does he owe you money?" I asked jokingly. The 11-IO nodded, and the next second her eye rims turned slightly red, tears swirling inside. "He owes me more than money. I want to find him. Can you accompany me to your house to take a look?" At this moment, I couldn't find any reason to refuse anymore. A high and mighty 11-IO was actually asking me in a pleading tone. Seeing me agree, she went back contentedly, as expected of the 11-IO. Early the next morning, as soon as I woke up, I found 2 suitcases in the living room. The 11-IO was already changed and sitting on the sofa. "You have half an hour to get ready. Your house is approved. We're setting off today." The 11-IO gave me no time to react, just sitting there watching the time. The countdown started. Panicking, I rushed into the bathroom to wash up and shower. It took 15 minutes. I changed my clothes and stood at the door smiling at the 11-IO. "Go carry the suitcases down." Visiting for the first time, I didn't know what to bring, so I bought a bit of everything. With all my might, I managed to load the 2 suitcases into the car. Then I caught the car keys tossed by the 11-IO. "Drive us to your house." "You drive." The 11-IO got into the passenger seat. "What are you thinking?" Minutes passed. Seeing I wasn't moving, she rolled down the window. Looking at me standing outside awkwardly, she asked, I don't drive." As soon as those words came out, the 11-IO took off her sunglasses, staring at me in utter SOC. I said, feeling wronged, "Don't look at me like that. I really don't. For work, I take a shared bike. I've been at the company so long. When have you seen me with a car?" I pointed at my injured hand. "Besides, in my current state, I can't drive anyway, unless you want to die." I lifted my chin and looked at the 11-IO smugly. The meaning clear. What can you do? Seeing my smug face, the 11-IO really wanted to throttle me right then. She massaged her temples. She had genuinely forgotten about my injury. After all, I'd been cooking so smoothly lately. She'd completely started treating me like a fully able person. Switch seats. The 11-IO snatched the keys from me with a dark face, then started the car and drove toward my hometown. I checked the navigation. It would take about 4 hours to get home. Along the way, I shared many funny childhood village stories with the 11-IO, including going down to the river to catch frogs, fishing with buddies, and that big yellow dog at the village entrance. It would bite me the moment it saw me. The 11-IO listened intently, because she had never experienced such a joyful life. Raised as an heir since childhood, with no playtime and no real childhood, only endless knowledge and business dealings. Right then, a subtle shift occurred in our relationship. We no longer felt like bot and subordinate, more like 2 close friends instead. The 4-hour drive flew by with my company. Finally, by afternoon, I was back in the village that raised me. "Whose luxury car is this? So fancy. Seriously, look at that matte finish. My daughter said last month her bot just bought one like this." As soon as we entered the village, we were surrounded by people, pointing and gesturing at the car. All these years, people only ever left the village, never came back to visit. So when we showed up, we instantly became the center of attention. "Ha ha, isn't this Sister Lu's boy? Xiao Zi, haven't seen you in years. You've really made something of yourself." Surrounded by onlookers, the 11-IO felt too awkward to keep driving. She stopped and rolled down the window. The villagers recognized me. "All right, we won't disturb you. Hurry and see your parents. If they knew you were back, they'd be grinning from ear to ear. Amidst the warm cheers of the villagers, the 11io drove to my house. From far away, we heard cats meowing from our courtyard. A man with his back turned was scattering cat food. It looked like feeding chickens. Dad, I got out of the car, calling out, choking back tears. My dad turned around and froze for a second. You brat. You finally remembered to come visit me. Hey, kid's mom, come out quick. Our boy is back. Seeing the white hair at my father's temples over the years, tears welled up uncontrollably. Hearing the shouts, my mom also came out of the house wearing an apron. She was overcome with emotion and hugged me directly. But this hit right against my injury. Mom, gentle, your son is carrying an injury. Hearing me wince in pain, Mom stood back to look and nearly burst into tears seeing my cast-wrapped left arm. How did this happen? How did you get hurt? I scratched my head, only saying I accidentally took a fall. The 11io lowered her head awkwardly and stopped speaking. Meanwhile, my mother followed my gaze and noticed the beautiful woman. This girl is so pretty. You must be Xiaozhe's girlfriend, right? Mom, we're just friends. The 11io interrupted and explained, but the couple didn't listen, just nodding away as if they were saying, we get it, you're young, kid. Old Chen, we have a guest. Go whip up something good. I'll allow you a little drink tonight. Hearing he could drink, my dad looked like he'd been injected with adrenaline. Why not let me drink earlier? I asked, carrying the bags into the house. Your dad's liver function showed problems recently. The doctor strictly ordered him to stop heavy drinking, so I've been keeping him in check lately. Seeing you back today, I'm letting him have a bit. Then it all made sense. No wonder my dad was acting as excited as a little kid just now. I haven't introduced myself. I'm Lin Aoshue, Chen Zhe's friend. I heard he was coming back to see you both for the new year, so I tagged along. So to intrude. Oh my, what are you saying? You have no idea how happy we are you came. He's never brought a girl home before. You're the first. And the last. I stood to the side, not wanting to say another word. The more you explain these things, the messier they get. Soon, my dad came back carrying a whole table of dishes. The four of us sat down, while my mom kept piling food onto Lin Aoshue's plate. She chatted about some of my childhood stories, only occasionally turning back to ask how I'd been lately, as if she were her own daughter. I finally learned the 11iOS name. After the meal, I wanted to help clear the table, but my mom rejected me on the grounds of my injury and told me to take her walking. With no other choice, I had to take her out to stroll around the village. As we walked, a yellow figure lunged at me. Big Yellow, cut it out. You used to chase and bite me. Now you've switched to licking? I struggled to get up and pin down that yellow dog. I smiled and stroked its head. Back when I was little, Big Yellow was the spryest dog in the whole village. But as I grew older, Big Yellow grew old too. Even its whiskers and eyebrows had started turning white. As I sighed with emotion, I pulled the remaining half of a ham sausage from my pocket, ready to feed it. But when I lowered my head, Big Yellow had vanished without a trace. By the time I reacted, it had already rushed over to Lin Aoshue's feet, wagging his tail to cozy up. Hey, you ungrateful mutt. You're not even this enthusiastic with someone you know. I wanted to feed you, and you get won over by a pretty girl visiting for the first time? Little perverted dog. Though I said that out loud, I still sensibly stood to the side, watching the interaction between Lin Aoshue and Big Yellow. Facing the enthusiastic dog, Lin Aoshue was terrified at first, but driven by curiosity, she squatted down and couldn't resist petting Big Yellow on the head. This made Big Yellow's tail wag even more wildly. He really likes you. Watching the person and dog having so much fun, I couldn't help marveling. After playing a bit, Lin Aoshue stood up, looked at me, and said, "Take me to see your village's city god temple." I guess there was no escaping it, huh? No choice, since we were already here. I could only lead Lin Aoshue through twists and turns to the city god temple on the little hill. Back when there were still quite a few people in the village, incense at the city god temple never stopped burning. But as more and more young people left the village to build lives in the city god temple grew increasingly desolate. Fortunately, Dad became director and had it renovated, restoring its former vitality. The 11-year-old walked around the city god temple twice, then took out her phone to zoom in on an earlier picture. Although the old city god temple was dilapidated back then and looked worlds apart now, some of the structural styles hadn't changed. Lin Aoshue compared them one by one using the photo and confirmed it was the place. After looking around for a moment, Lin Aoshue turned around and suddenly said to me, "Can you take my picture?" I nodded in a fluster, took the phone from her hands, adjusted the angle, and snapped a photo for her. Taking back the phone, Lin Aoshue quickly sent out the photo. "I've arrived, right here. If you can, will you come see me again?" The evening breeze ruffled Lin Aoshue's fine hair. Looking at her expression, I couldn't help wanting to step up and hug her and tell her loudly, "I'm right here, I love you." Yet until the very end, I never took that step. Actually, upon reaching home, I knew the lie I'd told back then would naturally fall apart, because even 5G signal was available in this village now, making it impossible to not receive messages. Smart as Lin Aoshue was, she had probably already figured out her online lover wasn't missing messages but simply didn't want to reply to Chen Ziyi. If a friend of yours is avoiding you and won't see you, why do you think that is? Lin Aoshue put away her phone with a disappointed look, looked at me, and said, "Unless they're trying to dodge paying you back, they probably just have some hidden difficulties." She wasn't very satisfied with my answer and walked straight into the city god temple. New incense sat on the altar. She lit a pack, closed eyes, placed them in the incense burner, closed her eyes, and made a sincere wish. "Let him appear before me. Even just seeing him is enough." She stood there a long time, then opened her eyes, turned around, and met my gaze head-on. Actually, the village's city god temple isn't all that miraculous. I looked at her and smiled. Lin Aoshue sighed, walked over, and took the initiative to grab my arm. "Let's head back." She looked sad. I couldn't say anything and could only obediently let her drag me back. Just as we got back home and before even entering the courtyard, we overheard our parents. "Do you think that young lady is our son's girlfriend?" "No way, anyone can tell at a glance she's filthy rich, super wealthy. Most of the things she brought this time I can't even recognize. Most of them are in English." Hearing them talk, Lin Aoshue didn't walk right in, instead grabbing me to eavesdrop by the courtyard gate. Still, if those two really are a pair, that would belie our old Chen family's ancestral graves smoking green smoke. I just wonder if this young lady will ask our boy to take her last name. Hearing the old couple's chat, I wished I could find a hole to crawl into. Lin Aoshue, by contrast, looked completely calm. "Anyway, the way that young lady looks at our son, she definitely likes him." Hearing this, I turned my head in SOC to look at Lin Aoshue, yet in her eyes, I couldn't read a single thing. Ahem, I coughed twice at the courtyard entrance, interrupting their conversation. If they kept chatting, heaven knows what else they'd say. Seeing me bring Lin Aoshue back, my parents hurriedly stood up to welcome us, then brought out a plate of fruit from the house for us to eat. "All right, uncle. Chen Ziyi took me to see the village's city god temple. I heard it was just renovated not long ago." "Did you do that, uncle?" "The village elected me as director, and I figured I should secure some welfare for everyone. Besides, it wasn't just renovated, it's been nearly half a year." Hearing that, Lin Aoshue nodded and fell silent, and I knew I was completely exposed this time, because the photo of the old city god temple was sent by me to Lin Aoshue 3 days ago, which meant the timelines didn't met at all. Fortunately, she didn't keep asking further. That night, my parents cleared a room for the two of us. In the middle of the night while I was sleeping soundly, I was suddenly woken up by a knock on the door. I rubbed my eyes and opened the door, and sure enough, Lin Aoshue in her pajamas was standing at the threshold again. "But, knocking when we were at your place was one thing, but here, aren't you worried the villagers will gossip?" Lin Aoshue didn't care in the slightest, walked into my room, found a spot and sat down, then stared at me without a word. "But, big sis, what are you trying to do?" "I'm sleepy, let me sleep." Who knew what bug had bitten this woman tonight? Chances were, bright and early tomorrow, rumors would spread through the village of a young lady breaking into my room at midnight. I sent a file, receive it. Dizzily, I took out my phone, unlocked the screen to receive the file, and the next second, a 6DO call came through. I fumbled for my phone, half asleep. Form of address, Chen Zi calls Lin Aoshue bot /big sis or by name. Lin Aoshue calls Chen Zi by name. parents call Chen Zi son/boy and Lin Aoshu a young lady/girl. Setting, modern corporate romance transitioning to rural family visit. At that moment, I didn't realize anything. I answered by reflex. When Lin Aoshu's face appeared on my screen, I knew it was over. I had nothing to say. I didn't even dare to look up at Lin Aoshu. I could only keep my head down, staring at the screen, submitting to Lin Aoshu's scrutinizing gaze. Give me a chance to explain. Instead of speaking, she just turned and walked away, leaving me standing there like a fool. Damn it. At that moment, I felt like my whole world had collapsed. I had no idea how to face Lin Aoshu after this. A quiet night passed, and early the next morning, I stepped out of my room, just in time to see Lin Aoshu walking out too. Morning, but, to my surprise, Lin Aoshu gave me a cold glare, then turned on her heel and left. I awkwardly rubbed my nose. It seemed that getting back on her good side will take a long time. During breakfast, hearing she was leaving, Mom blurted out, "What, you're leaving today? There are some urgent company matters to handle. Besides, Chen Zi is an outstanding employee. We can't do without him." Although Lin Aoshu said that, she didn't even glance at me the whole time. Mom looked at me, then turned back to look at Lin Aoshu, as if she finally understood something. "You must feel a bit uncomfortable staying here. Couples are usually together. It's normal to feel awkward being suddenly apart. Since that's the case, I won't hold you back. Finish your meal, pack up, and head back then. Just make sure you take all those gifts you brought. We appreciate your kindness, but your dad and I could never finish all this. We couldn't possibly refuse the old folks' hospitality. So, the exact way those things were brought here is how we packed them back up. Can I explain now?" The whole car ride was dead silent. I couldn't help speaking. "Explain what?" "How you lied to me." Though I didn't know when Lin Aoshu started suspecting me, but if she wanted an explanation, I honestly had nothing to say for myself. Just lie that, throughout the 4-hour drive, neither of us uttered another word. When we arrived downstairs, I reached for the luggage, but Lin Aoshu pulled her hand away first. Seeing her expression, I could only let go and stand to the side. Then, the next second, she lost her balance and tripped. Seeing this, I rushed forward to help her. "Get lost," she snapped angrily, stubbornly pushing herself back up and dragging her luggage step by step into the building. Watching her retreating figure disappear, I knew I would probably never be welcomed here again. I returned home feeling utterly defeated and pulled out the spare key I'd hidden earlier. When I wanted to trick her, I had tucked it away out of sight. Yet looking back at my own foolish actions now, I realized I was nothing more than a clown, going to such lengths to hide my real identity, only to end up with absolutely nothing in the end. Back home, staring at the empty apartment, I felt like my soul had left my body. I sat on the couch, losing track of time entirely. I finally stood up to wash my face in the bathroom. Looking at my pathetic reflection in the mirror, I couldn't help slamming a hand across my own face. "Chen Zi, you're a coward. If you lie someone, just chase her. What's the big deal?" With that thought, I cleaned myself up and headed downstairs to Lin Aoshu's place with gifts. "Aoshu, I love you." Standing in the middle of a lit candle heart, holding a bouquet of flowers, I shouted up toward her window, "Give me a chance to win you over." My cries echoed through the entire courtyard, yet there wasn't the slightest response. "Aoshu, even if you're sentencing me to death, at least give me a chance to make a final plea. I know I deceived you, but back then I had no idea who you really were. I never dreamed the person I liked was my own bot." As soon as I finished those words, I heard a window upstairs being pushed open. I looked up, but it wasn't Lin Aoshu. It was a man in an apron. "Bro, keep going." I stared at him in speechless frustration. The guy was actually holding a handful of melon seeds. "Because of our status gap, I was afraid you'd know. I was terrified you'd leave me if you knew the truth." As I said that, several more windows popped open. Residents all over the complex poked their heads out. "Hey, what happens next in the Shidari?" Seeing so many people suddenly show up, I felt a bit awkward, but I knew that if I backed down now, I'd get no other chance. I admit I lied. I was timid and useless, but the moment I cooked for you at your place, I knew I had fallen for you. Seeing you smile while eating, you have no idea how happy I was at that moment. My words won the approval of many female neighbors, who immediately started nagging the men in their own homes. "I've figured it out. Even if you're my bot, I want a chance to prove my love for you. I'll even work for Fry from now on. Oko? They all laughed. All the onlookers around burst out laughing. Some even thought I was adorably foolish. I'll stand right here. I'm going to stand right here. Holding the flowers and standing completely still. Curious spectators gathered around. Word spread quickly from person to person. Those watching from upstairs and those surrounding me soon blocked the street completely. Time ticked by second by second. After half an hour, quite a few people were losing patience. Look, buddy, why don't you just call it quits? I don't think she has any intention of coming down. Many people around me started advising me to give up if it wasn't working. I shouted toward the top with all my might. Do I really have no chance? The surroundings fell quiet. Looking at the empty doorway of the building, I knew that maybe my chances were truly gone. As the final candle burned out, my last shred of hope shattered with it. I hung my head low and prepared to leave. The crowd naturally parted to clear a path for me. I could see the expressions on each of their faces. Some pitied, some disappointed, others enjoyed my misery. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out. What are you doing? I looked up and locked eyes with a stunned Lin Aoshue. Seeing the loaded shopping cart, I realized she went grocery shopping and wasn't even home. My melodrama was for nothing. Instead of my confession speech, I dropped the flowers and lunged, wrapping my arms tightly around Lin Aoshue. What are you doing? What are you doing? Let go of me right now. Do you hear me? Don't squeeze, my arm hurts. Just let me hold you for a moment. Just a second. I buried my face in her shoulder, breathing in her hair's fragrance. The onlookers jeered, chanting for us to get together. Let go of me first. Let's go inside and talk. Oku? Surrounded by people, Lin Aoshue lost her composure and pleaded with me to let go. Hearing we could go inside, I jumped up and nodded frantically, then eagerly took over the shopping cart from her and pushed it to the entrance. Seeing that, Lin Aoshue quickly hurried after me, simply because she couldn't bear any more embarrassment. Thanks for the help, brothers. I'll definitely send you wedding invitations when the time comes. Lin Aoshue grabbed my ear and snapped. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Just wait till we get home. I'll deal with you. Even though my ear hurt, my heart felt sweet at that moment. Back inside with Lin Aoshue, watching her sit on the couch, I walked right over and dropped straight down to my knees. I know I was wrong, I said with a pitiful expression. But soon, my gaze was caught by Lin Aoshue, her long legs wrapped in black silk right in front of me. I instantly forgot whatever else I was about to say. Lin Aoshue, who had been waiting for my continued defense, saw me staring at her legs and immediately pulled them back, crossing them on the couch. Keep staring like that, and I'll gouge your eyes out. Startled, I quickly wiped the drool from the corner of my mouth. I'll stop looking. Since you came to see me today, did you come to propose? So, will you marry me? I tried to use the opening to pull myself back up, only to be glared back down by Lin Aoshue. That stopped me from acting crazy again. I know I lied to you and deceived your feelings, but before I knew who you were, I genuinely wanted to go all the way with you. I dropped my playful demeanor, raised my head, and stared right into Lin Aoshue's eyes. Lin Aoshue didn't react. Her message crystal clear. She continued, better explain well, or don't even think about standing up. Later on during the meeting, I found out your true identity. Back then, I was terrified. You were the high-end mighty 11io, and I was just an employee under your command. I felt we had zero hope. Listening to my explanation, Lin Aoshue's face turned red. After finding out who she was, I had actually dared to say things like master's orders, and even made her wear such embarrassing outfits to go out to dinner with me. Growing more irritated by the second, Lin Aoshue kicked me straight to the floor. What's wrong? Everything I said came from my heart. I looked at her in total confusion. Nothing, I just felt like kicking you. Stop talking nonsense and keep confessing. I picked myself up looking wronged and continued listing my crimes. After you got hurt and I helped. Seeing how clumsy you were. What did you? I looked into Lin Aoshue's eyes and answered sincerely. I just wanted to take care of you for the rest of my life. Lin Aoshue felt a bit self-conscious under my gaze, especially after my final words, which made her blush deeper. Such a smooth talker. Lin Aoshue glanced at me annoyed. I've figured it out now. No matter who they are, everyone has the right to pursue their own happiness. I'm not asking you to agree. I just hope you'll give me a chance to pursue you. I will prove my love to you. My expression was dead serious, making her cheeks burn with heat. Hearing what I said, Lin Aoshue looked down at me and said haughtily, "Whether I give you a chance depends entirely on your performance. I want something delicious tonight." Hearing Lin Aoshue say that, I scrambled to my feet and imitated an ancient tavern waiter, saying, "You got it, milady. Just leave it to me." In no time, I gathered all the ingredients Lin Aoshue had bought, picked out a few of her favorites, and got to work in the kitchen. This was a wonderful start. She was willing to give me a chance, rather than kicking me out. If I played my cards right, my chances of winning her over were still pretty high. "Put this on. Don't get dirty." Before I knew it, Lin Aoshue appeared behind me, wrapping her arms around me to tie the apron on me. Before I could even process what was happening, a peck landed on my cheek. Then Lin Aoshue scurried off to the side, sitting on the couch and staring right at me. Could you get this side?" I pointed to my right cheek. "Depends on your performance. If dinner isn't delicious, you'll be sleeping on the couch downstairs." As a man, how could I possibly misunderstand Lin Aoshue's hint? Her subtext was clear: do well, and you can see a room with me tonight. Fueled by pure adrenaline, I brought out my absolute best culinary skills. Behind me, Lin Aoshue just sat quietly on the couch, watching me. When she returned, she was furious, feeling I played with her emotions, and finding it hard to accept. Yet upon second thought, the person she liked online was this very man standing before her. Especially after spending these past few days together, I found she wasn't so annoying. I decided to talk things out. If we aren't right for each other, breaking up early is best. Who knew that while buying food? I rushed downstairs to her. Then, faced with my heartfelt confession, Lin Aoshue let down her guard. No matter who I liked, it was her. "What are you looking at? Is there a flower on my face?" At dinner, I stared at Lin Aoshue the whole time. It made her feel a little embarrassed. I smiled, saying there was a flower. "I can't get enough of my wife." "Who's your wife?" "I haven't agreed yet." Seeing Lin Aoshue looking shy, I pulled out my phone and hit play. "Honey, if we're together, you must cook for me daily. Your wife is a big foodie." Hearing that, Lin Aoshue shyly dropped her chopsticks, snatched my phone and said stop. So embarrassing. Then she saw the memo on my phone's home screen and curiously browsed it. She was left speechless. "Met a girl online today. We chatted very happily. We hit it off. She told me to call her bye. To be honest, I felt shy. After all, my first relationship. I mustered the courage to ask her for some spicy pics. She sent them, I figure. A little thrilled, she said she likes grilled fish, and my specialty is grilled fish. Is this romance heaven sent? Lin Aoshue scrolled my notes. Soon her eyes turned red. Found out today the 11io is actually my online crush. Can I met her? I want to pursue and be with her. Would she fancy an employee? Whatever, I'll pluck up the courage to chase you. Tough girl, you have a strong grip. You almost broke my arm. If we get together, I can't let her abuse me. Lin Aoshue flipped many pages. It recorded everything, from when we met online to all the little details after. I remember everyone clearly. She found out and stopped talking. Will we just end like this? I'm not resigned. I'll be brave. I'm going to find her. The memo ended there, because I was already smiling right in front of her. Lin Aoshue wiped her tears, typed a sentence on her phone, then showed it to me. We are together now. Today is our anniversary. Yong looked at his phone. I looked at Lin Aoshue. Seeing her shyly nod, I happily leaped at her. I hugged her with all my might, desperate to hold her close. I won't let you down. I love you, I whispered in her ear. I know, Lin Aoshue replied softly. I supported her shoulders with one hand. At this moment, our eyes met. I couldn't hold back anymore, grabbed the back of her head, and kissed her fiercely. Lin Aoshue passionately responded. It felt as if this entire journey tested our love, and today, it finally bore fruit. The mood was just right. I wanted to scoop Lin Aoshue up and head to the bedroom, but she stopped me. What? Didn't you say you'd wear sexy purple lingerie for me? Trying to go back on your word? But no matter what I said, Lin Aoshue cited my injured body. That night we lay in bed, did nothing at all, just quietly held each other and spoke from the heart. We chatted until we fell asleep. Early the next morning, I was woken by her scream. I opened my eyes to see her frantically rummaging for clothes. What's wrong, darling? Lin Aoshue rolled her eyes, dressing while saying, Your fault for chatting so late. Today's the meeting, I'll be late. Right now I'm lying in bed, feeling that softness, watching a busy Lin Aoshue. I feel like a kept gigolo. You're the company 11IO. The company can't run without you. You can do it. I'm going back to sleep. I crashed back to sleep. When I woke up again, it was almost noon. I got up, tidied up simply, and started cooking. Once everything was done, I packed the food into a bento box and took a cab to the office. Amidst the receptionist's gaze, I pushed open the office door. Darling, did you miss me? I made you a loving lunch. I rushed in with movements and froze the next second because the office was full of people right then. I suddenly remembered that every Monday after the meeting, the 11IO summons all executives to her office for a detailed meeting. Later, Lin Aoshue took me back to her hometown to meet her parents. At the dinner table, future dad-in-law and I drank heartily, getting so chummy we almost knelt to become sworn brothers. If she hadn't stopped us, I'd probably be her dad's big brother by now. Before leaving, the old couple shoved 2 bank cards into my hands, saying it was their savings. One for our wedding, and one for our future child. After much refusal, I accepted the cards and headed home with her. That night I hugged her grinning. That look made her uneasy. Honey, look. Your parents even gave money for our future kid. Should we hurry and have a bee-bye? Otherwise the money is useless. Lin Aoshue called me a pervert, then crawled out of covers. Right then I noticed she was wearing that purple pajamas. I couldn't hold back anymore. After holding back so long, today we can finally bear fruit. I howled and pounced on her. Naturally, Aoshue got pregnant. Our wedding was held shortly. To fulfill my original promise, I invited all the residents in our neighborhood. At the wedding, my parents cried, continually muttering under their breath that our pig finally got a cabbage. When dad-in-law handed Lin Aoshue in her wedding dress to me, seeing this ethereal beauty, it felt like a dream. I love you. Will you marry me? Right then, I knelt on one knee, holding our wedding rings, gazing at Lin Aoshue. Lin Aoshue took the mic and said in a voice everyone present could hear, I do. After the wedding, we went to many places for our honeymoon. During that time, I felt like the happiest husband alive. Seeing Lin Aoshue's belly growing bigger. For easier care, I brought my parents from the village to lie in our complex. They were ecstatic seeing her belly. Lin Aoshue then started her postpartum confinement mode. The result was that all the company pressure fell on me. Busy as a bee every day. After finishing company work, I had to drag my tired body and cook nutritious meals for Lin Aoshue after work. For half a month, the menu never repeated. After all that chaos, Lin Aoshue gained weight, while I lost over 10 pounds from exhaustion. Soon it was time to deliver. My whole family and I waited anxiously outside the operating room, until the doctor came out holding a cute little bee-bye. We finally breathed a sigh of relief. He tried to hand me the bee-bye, but I asked my in-laws to watch, and rushed into the ward. Seeing how I acted, both sets of parents nodded with satisfaction. Under our meticulous care, little Chen Lin grew strong. After becoming a mother, Lin Aoshue stepped back to the second line at the company and became my secretary. Today is Monday again. I'm routinely holding a meeting for subordinates in the conference room. Originally this should have been Lin Aoshue's task. Now it's my job like hers. I started talking about the company's future direction and current tasks when the screen suddenly cast a message popped up. From dear wife, send $50 and I'll help you make a second child tonight.